Can you do that whole full government name so we can get that, and then we can go into who we are and how we roll?
Sure, peace. I'm Angel. It's fine. Ain't Gregorio. Angel.
Okay. Now, Sister Angel, when you think about, when those feet touch that ground every morning, you're on a purpose. Kind of unpack that purpose for right now, 2026, because you've been at this for a long time. We're going to go back there, but I want to be in the presence with you.
So that's kind of a question that requires a bit of knowing my journey to understand my purpose.
Come on, y'all.
I am born and raised in D.C., went to Howard twice, which just means I'm broke because I owe them a lot.
Ain't you?
I got degrees in counseling psychology because I thought I was going to be like Clarice from Silence of the Lambs.
Okay.
I know that's really eerie, but in my mind, I wanted to go into prisons and I wanted to understand the minds of people who had been sentenced to like life in prison because of its impact on my immediate family.
Okay.
The impact of mass incarceration, having brothers serving life in prison, mother and father incarcerated. So I've always been deeply interested in the psyche because we were raised together, yet I took a different path for, some odd reason. And so I started teaching at a youth jail in DC or in Maryland for boys who are locked up in DC. Stayed in education and thought I would die an educator because I really love education and I love kids. And then I randomly kind of became a Spice Girl. So, I say that.
One of those travel trips, right?
It really was, the most random thing ever. It was super serendipitous. Walking down the street and saw a space for lease and happened to call the landlord and convinced him that he should let me open a spice shop with no business plan, no financials, no name of the space, like nothing. Just a conversation and some, relationship I had with the nail salon owner on that block that I've been going to for years. And I opened I was an assistant principal at the time. I opened that spice shop in August. No, I got the keys in August. I opened in September. I left my job in October.
What's the year?
2015. And that was 10 years ago.
Now, 10 years ago, she walked with Eleanor Holmes Norton at a conference when you won an award for...
that was 10 years ago?
Yeah.
Like 9. Yeah.
Okay, so,
yeah.
Right, I was there.
Okay, like 9 years ago. I think I was in business for about a year and a half, and Eleanor Holmes Norton presented me with the Small Business of the Year.
One of many that have come, right, since then. The reason I pulled that out there is because a lot of times people don't do 10. We were just talking about my brother with the bees. He's at 3.
Yeah.
I was on A Street for 18 with the Inspired Barbecue. So when you think about the 10 years, and I want you to kind of unpack the now. You get up on purpose every day, right now. And what does that feel? And what's that feel like, sis?
I feel free.
Yeah,
I feel free. And so my purpose is connected to community, right? Which is why I told the story of like all the things that I've done, because this spice shop has just been like something cool to do. Community is like really who I am. Like a community servant is who I am. Before the Spice Suite, I was working in practically every hood in DC with some of the most forgotten kids and families in DC. And that's what really drives me. And so that's what my business model came from, right? So I have this business model that I've created that I call Black and Forth, which is this idea of going back and forth with Black people to sustain a brick and mortar location. And we provide free pop-up spots for Black business owners. We've hosted literally thousands of them in the 10 years that I've been in business. And so it's really just like me wanting to serve people, wanting to show up in community. When I left my job as an assistant principal, like that felt like purpose, right? Like if somebody would have asked me what was my purpose as an assistant principal, it's so easy, right? I want to serve kids and families and close the achievement gap. And, it's really easy to think about it. But as a business owner, it feels very capitalistic, right? And so when you think about your purpose, for me, I had to stay rooted and connected to communities so that I didn't lose sight of like who I really am, even though I like nice things, right? And I still want money and I want my business to thrive and I don't ever shy away from that.
Right? And the reason I asked that question, because a lot of times when we get up, we're not thinking about, we're just up. And I know a little bit about you because I've watched you. And in that watching from your give back and your pull up to others, I mean, you do it as if it's something you've done all your life.
Yeah.
Talk about that.
So it's not necessarily something I've done all my life. It's something I've done most of my adult life.
Okay.
My first job, outside of retail, my first job was at Sports Zone on Georgia Avenue. That was when I was at Banneker.
Okay. You're a Banneker achiever.
I am.
Okay. All right.
I am. But my first real job outside of the youth jail before that was in Berry Farm.
Mhm.
I worked over the farms and I worked with young kids with this nonprofit called FLY, Facilitating Leadership in Youth. It's not even around anymore.
Okay.
But that was a job where I would be responsible for finding job shadowing opportunities for the kids from Berry Farm because it was unlikely that they would ever leave their neighborhoods. So I
Yeah.
would take them to different places and build relationships. And so that was meaningful and purposeful. And that was one of my first real jobs. And that kind of put me on the path to
How old were you
giving
then?
back. I was maybe 18.
Y'all do the numbers, right?
Yeah, maybe 18.
She got this, and since 18, but you're still doing it now.
I'm still doing it. Yeah, it's always going to be.
It's always,
what I
right?
do. Yeah.
And that's something on purpose that is uniquely you.
Yeah.
And when you think about, if I may ask you,
Mhm.
someone from your past, ancestral, that kind of has the same energy that you flow in now. And I'm gonna tell you why the connection. Because can you think of someone from your aunts, from your family that has some of the same energy that you have now?
Family, no. My
No?
family has a really complicated
Okay.
history.
Uh-huh.
They still are in very complicated, unfortunate circumstances.
Okay.
So I am, survivor's remorse is a thing for me.
Got it.
So
Yeah,
no, not
yeah.
my family.
The-
But when I think about ancestors,
Uh-huh.
I would have absolutely been a Black Panther.
Okay,
Would've
got
been
it. Okay.
on the side of
Yeah,
Panther.
give it to her. Give it to her. I love that, right? The reason is because I asked that question because a lot of times when we are on our own journey and you on that unique journey,
Mhm.
sometimes have you had people question your why?
People ask me
Mhm,
it, but they
mhm.
don't question it in a way that feels like challenging
But
my
they
why.
ask.
I think my why is pretty apparent to people.
Uh-huh,
I think I live and move in a way in business and personally where people are very clear that I'm here to serve and show up for people, and they also very clear who I'm here for, right?
Right.
Like, I am here for Black people. Prior to the Black Lives Matter movement, I was always very pro-Black, very clear that that's who I was about. I don't shy away from that in business. And in business, people would say, white people might not want to shop with you if you say that, or if you keep posting that the pop-ups are only for Black people.
Yes.
And I'm like, then
That's
that's
who
not
you
my
are.
people.
Yeah.
It's cool.
The reason I asked that question because entrepreneurship can be very lonely. And sometimes when we're on purpose and even though we know we're on purpose and we get up at it every day, sometimes we can go back into our memory and remember that auntie or that grandmother or that somebody, even if it was the neighbor or that other person at church, that saw in you who you are now.
Mhm.
Do you have anyone that saw in you who you are now that you can remember?
Well, once you reach a space that people feel like is successful, everybody claims they sold it, right? It's every day. Literally, right? Like, I'm from uptown, right? My family's from Kennedy Street.
Yeah.
So everybody from Kennedy Street, the Rittenhouse, the Kenilworth, all the hoods I worked in, everybody's like, I knew you were going to be. And I'm like, really? You should have told me. You should have said something. Because I wasn't sure. There was lots of points, but I wasn't sure where this was going.
And that's what I'm talking about. Because there are times when, as an entrepreneur, you have that, right?
Mhm.
But you get to that point, that thresh, when you cross the door and you look back and say, yeah, I'm doing this thing, right?
Mhm.
That leads me into what's next. Because you've done so much, sister.
Mhm.
From the natives to the brothers and sisters who are popping up. And I'm going to ask you about the dates and times for those events.
Mhm.
But when you think about, like my brother, I'm using your question now, right? You're 2000, we're in that 26 now.
Uh-huh.
What does that look like now? We're just beginning in it and on.
It's just more of what I've done. I think at this point in my professional journey, like, I've already solidified like who and what I am and what my business stands for.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to figure that out. I'm not trying to refine my mission and vision and all those things. I'm pretty clear on that, and I think the community is clear on that. We've expanded in a way, I haven't had to spend money on marketing and business. It's really been word of mouth. Like, I've never had to pitch myself to a network, and I've done everything from ESPN to CNN, like shows where networks I didn't even think would be interested. Like, I'm not sure why CNN.
And she's holding it down. Y'all seen her on different podcasts, right? Holding it down.
Yeah, I'm grateful for that. But, so for me, what's next is more so about like, how many more of us can I bring along this journey? It's not really anything I want to do in business that I haven't done.
Uh-huh.
And I actually don't know what is next for me in terms of, like, the business of the business
Okay,
because
uh-huh.
I didn't see this, right? And so I often say, like, I don't even try to predict what's next in business because I keep blowing my own mind. Like, I keep surprising myself. If you would have asked me 7 years ago, like, what's next, I would have never said a strip mall.
Yeah.
I would have never
In
said,
that
I want to
neighborhood.
own a strip mall. I
In
want to
that
build a strip mall. I
neighborhood.
would have never
Yes.
said that.
I'm like, oh,
3 years ago, I wouldn't have said I want to add a coffee shop to the strip mall, right? But I've done that. And so I continue to build on what I've done. The farmer's market is something I've always wanted to do because I love farmer's markets. So some things I were on my wish list.
Yeah.
I just didn't know how it would come to pass. But just want to bring more of us along this journey with me. I want my community business school, which is the business school that I host twice a month. We have free business classes at the Spice Suite, and I've done that since I've been in business. It used to be at my house, and now it's at the Spice Suite.
You're meeting people. The space is conducive to really learning. The energy is there. I've had the pleasure of sitting in the chairs also too.
Yep.
You have a philosophy about pulling up as you move up, right?
Uh-huh.
Can you literally talk about how that has helped you be even bigger?
Yeah. It kind of goes to what you said, right? You're like, entrepreneurship can be lonely, and I feel like that's if you go alone, right? It's only lonely if you go alone. I didn't do this alone. I've done this with people by my side the entire time, and I knew I wanted to bring people along this journey, so it hasn't felt lonely. And I feel like, if you feel like your journey in entrepreneurship feels isolated, then that's your fault.
Okay.
That's really your fault. And I think we got to own some of this stuff, some of the I don't want to say problems, but we just got to own some of what we deal with in entrepreneurship. I think that for me, I just want to keep on bringing people with me.
Keep on bringing people.
That's really
y'all
it.
hear that, right?
That's really
now, I want y'all to be a part of this. You don't mind me bringing it, right? All right? Because this is family, y'all. Any questions? Yes, my brother.
Yes.
Tell us who you are and the name of your business, because this brother has some watermelon juice.
Nice.
Thank you. I'm Eugene Yarbrough of Harvest to Health.
Peace.
Peace. And I just want to say congratulations and thank you for what you contribute to our community.
Thank you so much.
And my question is, how have you marketed without spending money? And how have you achieved your successes without spending money in marketing? How have you marketed yourself?
Great question.
Social media. Like Instagram, I've been on Instagram since we've been in business, and it's really just like telling my story, posting what feels authentic. I don't overthink stuff like that either. Like, I've never had a social media manager, I've never had a business manager. I've just met some really dope people along my journey, inviting community into my space because they want to tell people, right? Like, when you offer free space to people, I didn't think about it when I was starting to offer these free pop-up shops. In my mind, I'm like, I have a space, there's some empty space in here, I have to pay the rent, now mortgage. Like, I have to pay this whether y'all join me or not, so why would I charge you, right? Like, y'all black, y'all trying to make some money too. Me charging you $50, $100, and I wasn't making money back then. But it was so nominal that it just felt like greedy to charge people that small amount of money just to share space with me. So I think it caught on, and I didn't know it. I had no idea that what I was doing hadn't been done. Even my business model of having these I call them Spice Girls. I have about 20 black women who sell products at my store on a regular recurring basis, and in exchange they help run the shop. And I didn't know that what I was doing was revolutionary. I figured somebody else has to be doing this because it makes so much sense. And so I got a call from the U.S. Department of Labor one day, their legal department, and they asked me why they don't see any representation of this relationship on my tax filings with the IRS because I'm bartering. And I was like, because I lied. I'm not bartering. Because if the IRS has to get involved, then clearly I said something wrong. So how do we undo this? Right? Because that's not who I'm a promise with. And so they were like, no. The guy was like, no, I promise you, I'm not trying to trip you up. Just tell me about your business model. Because in my early interviews, I would say I was bartering. And he was like, I think you're using the wrong word. And when I explained to him exactly how it worked and the agreements that they have and all the things, he was like, I've been in this a long time and I don't know anybody doing this. And it doesn't fit any of the employment types as defined by the DOL.
Wow.
And I was like, well, what does that mean? And he said, young lady, continue
Keep doing
on.
it. Keep
and
doing
so
what you're
I called
doing.
an attorney and I was like, I need to trademark this.
Yeah.
And so it took a long time to get the trademark approved. And so I never said out loud until recently, maybe a couple years ago, like that my business model is called Black and Forth. And so I've been invited to Wharton and Howard and, different places to speak about my model in the hopes of teaching other Black people how to run this model. Other city councils have come to visit Black and Forth is also the name of my strip mall. So it's my business model. It's also the name of my strip mall. But they come to visit Black and Forth to see it and hear about it and learn from it, and in hopes that I'll bring my model to other cities, which I'm down to do as long as it's Black people. Like I'm just not compromising on that. Like I'm not interested in creating this space for anybody else. I just don't say barter. I just describe it without using that word at all. Yeah. I thought that was the word to use, and I was
because that's
wrong.
our ancestors been doing that for so many years, and
it made sense.
I have gotten so many phones, especially when you first started. When you were online during COVID at home doing, I'm like, I'm watching it, right? Because see, if we don't let people know what we're doing, we don't exist, right? And so not only are you like in our presence because everything is online, you are also part of tomorrow. You have touched so many people. Can you share some of the that you see in others that have come through your model? Because you see them growing too.
Yeah, so many people like what's the girl? Chantel. Chantel owns a deodorant brand called Play Pits. A natural deodorant brand. She's in every Target in the country, CVS, like all over. Her very first pop-up was at the Spice Suite. And so I've been using the deodorant since her pop-up, and now
looking it up now too. There you go, brother.
Yeah, I mean it's bomb. And she started, that was her I remember her coming in, like I couldn't even stay for her pop-up, but I remember her being nervous and coming in. Several folks who've popped up with us have, major brand, Chris Classic. Chris that has a fragrance brand in Atlanta. I remember him calling one day on the shop phone. He was coming to DC for something. And he's like, I heard you guys do pop-ups at this space. I'm trying to do an event. I know it's last minute. And we squeezed them in. And now the girls call him our unofficial Spice guy. Because he came and ended up hanging out with the Spice Girls that weekend. We stay connected. His brand, he didn't need my brand to grow. But just seeing him and how his brand has continued to grow since then. So many brands. Ashaka Gibbons, who Jill Scott wore her hat in her NPR Tiny Desk the other day. Ashaka comes down from New York to pop up with us. So there's so many brands of people who are established or brands that have grown since, I met them popping up. And they're just doing really dope, amazing things now. And it's super awesome to see, kind of all of us, relying on each other. So just actualizing cooperative economics, right? Not letting it be this thing that we say during Kwanzaa, but it's something that we live, is what I've been trying to do.
And that is, you're doing it, sister. And that is Black Wall Street. When people literally walk in and they see the Blackness and then they walk through and they experience the beauty and the elegance of it, it's just like, wow, this needs to be not only on our phone taking pictures, but we need to literally bring our children so that they can witness what they are a part of, right? So
I think that kind of answers this question too, right? I think that's part of it. People coming into the space, I've always created a space that felt good. There's always a vibe, right? There's a playlist. There's the smell of spices and teas and things when you come in, so it kind of hits at your senses. And then the idea that when you come to shop at the Spice Suite, you're not just coming to shop with me. I've always made it very clear that my spices are bomb, my honeys, olive oils, all the things. We got cast iron skillets, we're the Black Williams Sonoma at this point in business, where we literally have all the kitchenware and everything. But it's really about who else can you support too. When you come in, buy your spices, but stop at the table in the middle and see what this sister has to offer, see what this brother has to offer too. And so people come in excited, right? I don't know many places where people are excited to spend money. People literally will get to the register and they're like, that's all I spent? I budgeted more than that.
Yeah,
let me grab something else. Yeah, because it's I wanted to spend money with you. So let me do what I came to do. Whereas in most retail spaces, it's kind of ooh, I'm so glad I didn't spend more, right? It's the opposite. And that, I think, speaks to the community that we built. And then people, of course, return because the products are great. But I think what gets them in the door is also things like that. People saying, I need somebody to see this.
Yes.
People come by. This lady came to my farmer's market a couple months ago. An older lady, she came, it was actually my grand opening. It was a farmer's market, but it was the grand opening of my tea and coffee shop last year. Mm-hmm. And she was very, very old. Had to be upper 90s, right? And she's with a walker, and she had a nurse with her. And I was like, wait, let me get you a chair. She walked past me, and I was telling somebody to get her a chair. And she was like, I'm not staying. And I was like, well, you just got here. And her nurse said, baby, this lady saw you on the news and remembered that your grand opening, because I had announced it on the news a week or so prior, and remembered your grand opening. She said, I can't get her to go to the dentist. to the doctor, to go outside, to go for a walk. I can't get her to go anywhere.
Yes.
But she made sure she remembered to come to the grand opening of this because she was so inspired by you when she saw you. And the lady looked at me and said, I just needed to lay eyes on you.
Yeah.
Right? So it's things like that where it's like it's really community, and I'm grateful that people see me and see that. Right? Like they don't just see me as the girl making money selling spices. They see me as the girl who's like bringing community along this journey and trying to free as many of us as I can.
There it is. Isn't that what Sister Hurd Tubman did? She freed as many of us who was ready to go.
Yeah.
Now, my brother, come on now. I know you got one in you. Got a question. This is my brother. You got to know him.